Oh, let's see what's on Kijiji. Alright guys, welcome to something I'm going to try. I just had this idea quite a while ago. Like, I watch a few YouTube guys that go on Craigslist and stuff, and he makes fun of people's builds and how much they ask for it. Not that this isn't what that's about. I'm just gonna I skim through Kijiji and I pick out some trucks that I actually kind of find interesting, and we're just gonna kind of talk about them and look at them. And who doesn't like looking at trucks? And how much better than for a guy to make a video and show you the truck, so you don't even have to scroll while you're letting your morning turd slide. This is perfect. All right, well, here we go. It's gonna take me a little bit to get used to using the camera on the computer. But first up, we have this Western Star. This is a 2006, and this is Triple T's out of Claresholm. Obviously, it's yellow with the brown. This is actually pretty sharp looking Western Star, if I don't say so myself. And they're known to have pretty nice stuff. So I guarantee you this has got all the bells and whistles that were available at the time. First off, I want to look at these ramps. Like, every time I got to winch up my trailer and stuff, I'm always like, you know what I wish I had? Ramps. And there's a lot of times if you had certain trailers, you wouldn't even need the winch. You could just slide right underneath the trailer when its legs aren't down. And that's nice. It's got backup lights. It looks like he's got a pretty big bar there for lights. I'm sure they're removable. There's no way that they're not. This is an RN100, so it's a 100,000 pound winch. At least that's what it says. Comes fully rigged. That's nice. We got a Detroit Series 60. I think it's the 505, which is classified as, I don't really know my Detroits. 515 horsepower, so it says. Normal Western Star interior. It's been the same since, I don't even know how long. 2003 or 4? I don't know. I'm not super up on my Western Stars, but 2-speed. That's good. Oh. It's got the Allison automatic, which is better than some things. And it's got the PTO switch, so that would entail that it's got live hydraulics, not off the transmission. Now, when I look at this bunk, that bed's looking, I don't know if it's just the way it looks bigger in this picture, but that looks a little bit bigger than what I got in my Kenworth. And that side window, that's pretty nice. If a guy had 3 windows across the back plus that side window, you would have the most visibility a truck could have. So I'm kind of thinking, I'm like, we always talk about what parts of what truck you would put on a truck to make a truck. If you could mix any parts, I would take the Western Star Sleeper. And 3 windows across the back. We got 308,000 K, which that's pretty low. 9,000 hours, that's pretty low too. JPH equipment. I just said the whole spiel and I didn't even hit record. Idiot! So we got, this is a 2004 Western Star 4900 Tandemtanum bed truck. This was a Triple T truck out of Claresholm. It's got a 430 horsepower Detroit diesel, CVIP, to be determined. 445s on the front, 12.0 R24s on the back. 75,000 kilometers. 636 axles, 414-inch wheelbase, full lockers, fleet realignment sail. I don't know what that means. I've never heard that term before, but it's got an RN100 and an RN30 secondary, double frame, Suzu, planetaries, 250,000 Canadian dollars. It's a pretty sharp looking truck, if you don't mind a little bit of yellow. It's got a pretty beefy bumper. We got lights on top of the goalposts. We got fog lights. Really cutting down on some of the airflow though. Could use a little bit of touch-up paint. So you got the spray foam underneath the fenders. That's something we do with a lot of trucks around here is spray foam the underside of the fenders so the amount of gravel we were driving down doesn't get all punched out. Because see the aggressive tires throw a lot of rocks. It's look like it's got some pretty decent winch line. Could use a little bit of paint. They're using some recessed bolts on the winch covers so you don't have the nub sticking up, so that's nice. It's a nice looking rig up. It's got a massive kicker roll, like that's very tall. I don't even know why you would need it that tall, but oh, I can see why. Maybe you can cheat and you don't have to flip your wheel. But if you put that kicker roll all the way up, you wouldn't have to flip your wheel if you were like, say, doing like maybe some 400 barrel tanks or something, you know, small stuff. Suzu Planetaries, HD tires, which those tires are only rated for, I think it was 80 kilometers an hour. Decking looks pretty good. You see these side rails look like they open up so you can possibly sneak a chain in, or maybe there's, I don't know what's under there. It's too bad they didn't have a picture of that, but it looks hinged so the checker plate flips open. 2-speed, and I don't see a stick, so I'm guessing it's another automatic. What is it, 636 gears, I think it said? Yeah. Oh, here we go. Another one of my favorites. Well, we got 2013 Kenworth C500. I'm not going to go through all the specs because I'm struggling to put everything where it needs to be, and first time doing this, so it might suck a little bit, but we'll work on it. If you guys want to read the specs, you can just pause it here, and I'll just say it's 2013 Kenworth C500. And it's got a RN80. 300,000 Canadian dollar. Oh, it's a Camex Rig up, so this is pretty close to the same as the one we had at Road Train. Didn't really like it. It was very front end heavy, and we took the poles out of ours, and every time we get it on the lease, it would just nosedive and the back end would just spin and you would be buried in the front. But nice driving truck. You don't really need poles on a small bed anymore because you're not going to lift any derricks with it. It's too short. And it's not very often. We wouldn't put up the poles to stack mats because it just takes too long. So it's kind of pointless. We don't really use poles anymore. Like it's good to have because there was twice in 12 years where I'm like, oh, if I had poles, very beefy. Which Camex does overbuild, and their trucks are pretty heavy. It's got the number 2 slot, so it's only got one winch, and you can run your number 1 right underneath where the 5th wheel is, and you can come out just above that backup light and the pintle hitch there. All around, it's a good looking truck. I like the extended fender flares made out of metal, the checker plate. I don't really like polished checker plate because it's so hard to maintain and keep. It's like impossible. I'm like, I got smoothed out, and then we rock armor guarded mine after we built them out of aluminum. They've failed here too at the front bumper. That front bumper is not tied into the frame because the frame is not that wide. And that was a big thing. It's got to be tied into the frame if you want that to be even more sturdy. If you, I'm not saying you're going to run into much either, but I like to push on stuff with my front bumper, so I want to make sure it's stiff. It's got nice rubber block, of course. We got the Cummins. Which one was this? Was ISX 15 550 horsepower. It's pretty common across the line nowadays, as pretty much all the trucks have that. When it's got a 9 foot 2 inch roll, Oh yeah, it's got that sweet Camex auxiliary. I don't know why they put it up there like a stick. Like, I don't like it sticking out like that. Not a big fan of red interior, that's for sure. So the aromatic 4-speed on the right, and then we got your 18-speed main. Typical Camex console. It wasn't too bad, but if you're like multi-functioning, working your dogs and your band brake with one hand, which you can with this, I don't really like the turn adjuster for the band brake, and then the dogs button. Like, it's all in the right spot, but it's up against the back wall. Personally, to me, that's the wrong spot. It needs to be ahead about a foot, if that, somewhere in there. Because you find yourself, if you're in that truck all day for long periods of time and you're constantly twisting, even though I'm bad at it, I'm always looking out the back window and my neck gets sore. I just always like to have the console, like even mine that's on the passenger seat is pretty good, but it's kind of it's almost too far of a reach, but I got long arms, so someone that had shorter profile would, over long periods of time, probably wouldn't like it. 485,000 K. Only 2,135 hours. And it looks like it's a US truck if it's in Fahrenheit, so. And that was the same with the Road Train one too. So it was, I don't know, at least the speedometer is the right way. Because the one we had was in miles per hour. Alright, I seen this one at the auction, or I seen a bunch like it. This is a 2009 T800 tri-drive Texas bed, 235,000 kilometers, 6,500 hours, ISX 525, 18 speed, triple diff locks, 430 gears, which is another common thing around Alberta. We all pretty much rock 430s. New way, 262 wheelbase, double frame, live roll, Tulsa winch. No price. Probably foam, but the one thing I noticed about these right off the hop is how high the racks were for your bunks. I was like, why would you want your bunks to be that tall? I'm like, if you were in the market of doing maybe just a lot of swamp mat stuff, then this would be a pretty good rig up. But what I noticed is that the two forward bunks are way too high, and depending on, I didn't really look too closely at it because a bunch of guys were like checking them out, and I wasn't really interested in looking at them because it's T800. I'm sure that roll goes up. It's not like a US spec truck where the roll stays down. Hence why you have the taller bunks up front so you don't catch your fifth wheel. It's a nice looking little T800. The problem with the T800 is they're just too light in the front. So you can't really get... I haven't really done anything big and heavy lately since I've been at Cypress, but there was times at Road Train where we were lifting some stuff that was not that big, that was pretty heavy. And that C500 and that bumper, all that weight up front really paid off. So it's got these, I don't know if you jam your 400 barrel tank into these jaws here by the winch. I'm pretty sure you just suck your load right into that, and then it's not going to move around. But you're definitely not going down the road if your tank is, that's got to be like 2 feet off the deck. That's like probably a foot and a half taller than where my tank would be going down the road, and I'm at like 5'6". 5'5", 5'4", 5'4", 5'5". I think is what I measured out at, which is not legal, but if you're going in between locations, short distance, we all do it. It's got a stick, so that's a plus. What do we got here? 235,000 K at 6,000. I already said that. It doesn't have the touchscreen, which is more of my favorite. I'd rather have the full gauge package and have an aftermarket stereo because that gives you more options to do more of your own thing at a cheaper dollar anyways. If you got the touch screen, then that's like an extra 500 bucks to put something fancy in there. Clean, well kept. Oh, looks like they've swapped the driver's seat with the passenger seat, but it's got dual air ride, so that's a plus. That is Drive Products. They do pretty good rig ups. I've never seen that kind of control before though. Kind of looks familiar to we had one at Road Train that had a button on top. I don't know if that's a button or not, but I don't see a high and low. So it had a button on top you would hold down, and that would give you high suck. And then when you weren't holding the button, it was low, which was kind of a pain in the ass, but probably handy, I guess. I didn't like it. Pretty low mileage. The hours are right in that mark there. If the DPF emission stuff's all intact, it's right around the corner to failing. I'm just surprised you made it that far. Looks pretty well kept. You can tell this guy, people will buy these from the auction and they just do a lot of touch-up stuff and make it look better than it was and then resell it. But this one looks pretty decent. Doesn't look too beat. Alright. Another C500B. This is 2007. This has got the C15. Probably twin oh, it's got the rebuilt with single turbo conversion. Nice. 550 horsepower, $46,000, 588,000 Ks. The included head, cam, water pump, oil pump, alternator, transmission. It's got an 18-speed with a 4-speed auxiliary, but was since removed. What? Double frame, Suzu's. You can't have Suzu's and have no auxiliary. That's just retarded. New Way, full lockups. Tulsa, RN80. So I do believe that's a 40-ton. 42-inch sleeper. 100. What? Oh, the engine work was 46,000. My bad. Then it was 120. They were asking 124,900. Sharp looking truck. I don't know whose colors these are. We had a lot of companies that were this red with a white stripe. This too new to be like a cost truck or anything like that, or like Babco, of course. Flat top C500 is probably this is a classic C500. Probably the best looking one out there. Well, not this one exactly. I'm just saying this C500B flat top, if you're under 5 foot, is a great truck to drive. The problem with our Alberta trucks is the double frame. It just eats salt and then it rust jacks the frame rails. I know a few of them that are pretty bad, but somehow they're still on the road. Looks like it's been a push truck for a while. It's got that meaty push bumper. It's got a very basic rack on it. 30,000 hours. If it's just gotten rebuilt, it probably lasts another 30,000 hours. Cats are known for getting up there in the high-end 20s and up to 30. If you got 30,000 before you got a rebuilt, that's pretty good, especially in the oil field. It's probably got more than 645,000 K on it. It's probably 1.6. Whoa, could have sprung for a new steering wheel. That's the same seat I got in my truck. I quite like it, just because of my posture. I'm tall, but I can't do flat tops. I had one for a little while at VDM, kind of like this in a T800 style flat top. Lennox rig up, obviously. This is their standard classic console. It's weird though, Lennox didn't usually, a lot of the times, like our road train ones, were right in the middle of the floor, not on the side of the seat like this. And you can see tucked in the back corner there behind the seat on the back of the box there is looks like it's for front airbags, which makes a truck ride pretty nice in Alberta if you got airbags on the front suspension. And then right behind the dial there for the band brake on the right hand side there is a little electronic gauge to kind of tell you how much weight you're pulling on your winch, which is kind of handy. I've never had them. We had them in one or two of the trucks at Road Train, and I was like, that's pretty handy. But I didn't know how to really trust it, if it worked properly or not. Could use maybe some new exhaust stuff. Toss some paint at that engine. Why not give it a wash? You could tell they painted the frame, and the hoses, and just skimped on. You got to get in there and touch up that paint on that engine. It makes a world of difference. Blue compressor, you know that's a good one. Oh, 556 gears. She's only meant for pushing, I'll tell you that. That would be horrible. You definitely ain't driving that down the highway. You need that auxiliary with the overdrive. Big overdrive. My road train one truck had 456s and 110, 112. It was fairly screamy. I could do, what was it, 115, and it would be 1850 RPMs. And I would only do that to like kind of pass someone that was kind of doing the same speed as me and hammer down. Another C500B. This is 2007 tri-drive with 912,000 K and 19,000 hours. 475 cat. 18 speed with the 2-speed auxiliary. Triple diff locks. This is pretty good. This is my kind of truck. If I could fit in it. It's got everything a guy needs. It's got a Tulsa, 60,000 pound. I would definitely be putting in there live hydraulics. It's a pretty nice, sharp-looking truck. I am tired of white trucks, I'll tell you that. But this one looks like it's in pretty nice shape, minus the D sign. Looks like it was well taken care of. A lot of stuff that ends up in the auction. You could tell this is the same place where that T-bed is. You could see it. Maybe that's it in the background, but yeah. Why couldn't you fix some mud flood before you took a picture? Throw some more paint. You couldn't afford some paint to put on the roll? Like, if I'm looking to buy a truck, I'm definitely looking to make sure that it looks like it was taken care of. I'm not going to go look at a truck that looks like shit in the photos. That's a pretty basic chain rack. Ooh, we got the twin turbo cat, which personally, I've never had a problem with them, and we had one at Road Train that was turned up a bit, and it was pretty sweet. It hauled ass. What kind of washer bottle cap is that? And what color is on the steering box? That's better. At least it doesn't have the full red interior. The seat base is all rusted out, so you can tell this guy was always in the swamp. It's got that sweet wood trim. Yet again, the steering wheel is all chewed up. 19,000 hours, 912,000 K. It seems about on par. It's armor all up, that's for sure. TWG rig up. Like that console there is pretty much the same as what I got. We got the 2-speed there right behind the console. The one thing I don't like about flat tops is you gotta have 3 windows. I find like if I put my seat all the way on the floor and try to look out the back window to blindside or do something, I struggle, and when I lose sight of the end of my trailer, I feel like I'm going to hit something. This is the 1974 White Western Star, rare project truck. Runs but needs a little bit of TLC. I would say a little bit more than just some TLC. 20,000 pound Braden, 6 and 4, rubber block, $6,500. You can start your new empire with this. It's a pretty decent looking old truck. If you're into a classic truck, this isn't a bad start. Oh, I know where this is. You can see the bed truck in the background. This is the one that's out in between Westlock and is that Villeneuve on Highway 44. They also have that tandem with the drop axle with a winch that almost looks like a tri-drive. I posted a picture about it on Facebook or one of my pages not that long ago. So this guy's got quite a bit of some relics. It's a pretty decent truck. It's got some nice stacks. That headache rack is not saving anybody's life. I like the paint scheme. That dash has been around for quite a while. There's not much left of this dash. It's going to need a refurb. Maybe a little polish. Needs a little bit of TLC, he did say so. But it's got that 6 and 4. Looks pretty good under the hood. It doesn't look too bastardized with wires running all over that are different colors. Whoa, it's got the lifetime vinyl where we know that's like a 1-inch vinyl. You'll never ruin that for life. Oh, the sweet rubber. Driving this down the road must just drive just like a Cadillac. Braden winch. We had quite a few of these style Braden winches at Road Training when I first started there. Foremost Austin 7 track rig up. This truck and a trailer. This is kind of pretty cool. It's got an updated V6 Detroit power. Tulsa M70. It's about a 65,000 pound winch. 6,000 hours. Has a fifth wheel to pull a highboy. 2-man tilting cab. Approximately 48-foot track or 48-inch track width. It starts and runs well. Steers well. That's pretty important. $45,000. It seems like a pretty sweet deal. I've always kind of wanted one of these to just go truck around in the bush. I've never spent any time on one at all. I've seen one on location a little bit. Like we had some bigger ones doing rig move stuff. But I personally have never been in one. They're pretty sweet looking. I did see a few of them at the auction. It's not very big. It's a lot of truck. If you don't have a lot of deck space, it's kind of... But all in all, it's pretty cool looking. Be a nice toy to have, you know? Take out on weekends. Looks like it used to have poles, but it looks like it might have broke a pole. I see one on one side, not one on the other. It's just an empty hole. Looks somebody else must have bought it and turned it into something else because they welded a basket all the way around the back. A pretty standard looking cab. Got that Detroit right between the seats. Right now we're talking. I likes me a Nodwell and stuff like that, but here we got, this is 1986 C500. These were the kind of trucks that were around when I started to kind of like get into swamping, because everybody held on to their trucks forever, and since this was such a reliable truck, there was lots of them around. So this is 345-inch wheelbase, Tandemtanum, 13-speed trans, which I'm sure it's got a Suzu Planetary's Braden winch, 425,000 kilometers, excellent condition, $65,000. I'm liking it. I'm digging it big time. I would totally buy it. Well, a little expensive, but guaranteed the frame's probably toasting it. And that bumper, it's definitely had a hard life. It's hit some stuff. Oh, it's got 2 winches. Well, that's a plus. It's a good starter. Interior, from what I can see, oh, it's got to be an auxiliary over there. There's no way it's just a 13-speed. Suzu's, you'd have to have an auxiliary. I can see a stick there, but I don't know if it is just a winch control or not. Judging by how tall it's standing up, that's got to be an auxiliary. Oh, here's another Red Deer classic. This is a W900 tandem axle 340-inch wheelbase. Common 6-cylinder, 350 horsepower, engine brake, Eaton's Fuller, 15-speed, 4-speed auxiliary, spring ride suspension, 50-ton Braden. What? Tulsa 50-ton winch? It's got a Tulsa 50 and a Braden 15. And this thing's a little beef case. Handy yard truck, it says. 16,700. I know these colors pretty well. It looks like this was a Nugget truck, which is out of Black Falls as well. They shut their doors. She's got some aftermarket fenders, because those used to come with a fiberglass fender, and someone's put checkered plate. It's on a transmission. Did it say 15 and 4? So that'd be pretty good, actually. But with a Cummins 350, a 15, and a 4, that's probably double deep, I would think. It's got the blue button, so I do believe that's the double deep one. The lifetime vinyl did not hold out in this truck. It's got the big back window for rolling down. I've never seen how they run a mechanical that has 2 winches. No one ever gives you a good between the seats shot. Can you run 2 winch controls off the top of one power tower? And whatever one will run will be the one that you engage? Is that how that works? I don't know how that works. Alright, we got us a 2015 C500 Texas bed. I picked this one up because this is probably the sharpest looking one out of the whole bit. It's orange, it's not red. Are you colorblind? It's got an 80,000 pound Tulsa winch, 18 speed. This one was nice at every angle, so it's a pretty sharp looking truck. Everything is polished, mud flaps are extra. It's got a nice skirt. It's got dual pinholes. The problem, it doesn't have full fenders all the way back, which I hate not having. You get a lot of mud. Every angle, it looks pretty sharp. This is a nice looking truck. They're probably asking quite a few for it, so you gotta have front mud flaps. And I like to have the front mud flap holders so they're not flapping backwards in the wind. TBWL, I do believe, is a company out of Drayton Valley. I don't know if they have other shops, but they're the ones that have the Road Train day cab Texas bed as well. It was a nice looking truck. Alright, here's another classic bed truck. This is probably my favorite style for a bed truck in the year, is the 1998 Kenworth C500B 3406E, which is another one of my favorite 2-speed auxiliary. Some speeds better than no speeds. It's got the 18 speed. I prefer the 4 on a stick so I can shift it all the time instead of where the air you can only upshift while driving and then you gotta stop, downshift. 300-inch wheelbase is pretty good common truck. 70,000 pound winch, flip over 5th wheel. Doesn't have a price. Right off the hop, it's a nice white with black fenders. It's got the T-bar for the poles, which is, yet again, it's a classic look. I like the look of it, and have the pull cap up on top there. I've never had to deal with having the pull cap up on top. How hard is it to put it on and stuff? Just enough and just what you need. At least they took the time and they repainted everything. It looks like it's been sandblasted and repainted because I don't see any of the scab in the shiny paint. Oh yeah, this interior. This is my all-time favorite. Except for the cup holder. Every time you would crank a corner to the left, your coffee cup would fly out of there. If you had Tim Hortons' large cup, you would turn a corner and it would come out of there and hit the floor. If you were lucky, the lid didn't come off, but a lot of times it usually came off and then you spilled your coffee. 582,000 K, which, well, let's face it, it's probably more than that. Dual air ride seats, like that's a lucky swamper. All of ours had I think only the Sow had an air ride passenger seat. The rest of them, everybody got the box. It's pretty decent. Lennox console. It's quite an old console. I've never seen one like that, but I can always tell their controls. 3406E is another super reliable. It's probably one of my favorite cats. We had that at the C500 at Hudson's, had the 3406E, and I love that thing. Alright. Sorry guys for making this way too long. We're going to have to make way shorter next time and probably cut it down to like 5 or 6 trucks or maybe 8. This is 12 and it's way too long. I know I'm just talking too much. Last one here, 1953 Autocar. It's got a 350 Cummins and a 20-ton winch. Looks like the deck is off it right now. It looks to be in pretty good shape. I'm not much of an autocar guy, but this is pretty cool. And it kind of reminds me of like the Alaska Highway, because a lot of the stuff in the Army and back in the day when they were building the Alaska Highway were these colors. I don't know much about autocars, but I like old stuff regardless. Interior seems to be fairly stout and in shape. I've seen a couple of YouTube videos on autocars similar to this. And it's got a deck. Must be just the shortest little bed deck, because it's not a very long truck. The wheels stick out pretty far too. Alright, well that's it for me. I'm out of here. I want to thank you guys for watching. Check it out. Comment below if you have any ideas or comments towards this video. I know I made it too long, and I'll make the next one probably half as long. See you guys on the next one.